the people of Manipur have lost all faith in the state machinery and in the central government. They feel that both the state police and the central armed forces let them down. I have never seen in the past such a atmosphere where mobs kept looting one police station after the other and were literally handed weapons, sophisticated weapons, by the state police. That the Prime Minister cares more about the image of himself and cares more about the image of his party, cares more about his reputation than the actual dignity of women. Since May 3rd, the entire country is talking about it. The entire country is worried. And the Prime Minister chose to remain silent for 78 days.
The state government hasn't done anything. The central government is unwilling to step in, or probably, is looking the other way. So then what exactly is, the requirement of the people there? What do they want?
First of all, they want to express and tell their stories. They have simply been not allowed to tell their story of what happened to them because the internet has been shut down. It just shows that the Prime Minister is covering up for the failures of the Chief Minister. It just shows that the Prime Minister is protecting the Chief Minister. He doesn't care that so many women have been assaulted. So it is not something that is happening to one state in a remote part of India. It's happening to all of us. And therefore, it's our collective responsibility. And Manipur entered a period of relative peace and stability. Now, my greatest fear is that we've set Manipur back by 2 decades.
Hello and welcome to the News Minute. For the past 3 months, Manipur has been witnessing large-scale violence. Now the unrest is spreading to other parts of the northeast region. And according to internal security experts, they say that this development is of a grave concern. The opposition parties are demanding that the Prime Minister should speak about this on the floor of the House. The Prime Minister remains defiant, and the opposition parties have moved a no confidence motion, and a debate is expected in the coming days. To talk about this, I have with me Gaurav Gogoi, Congress MP, and also the Deputy Leader of the Lok Sabha for the Indian National Congress. Thank you so much for talking to us, sir. You visited Manipur along with the India MPs. You met the victims of violence over there. But as someone who is coming from the northeast region, how concerning is the situation that is prevailing in Manipur today? And what does it mean for the rest of the northeast region? How concerned are you?
Oh, it's absolutely of very grave concern because the people of Manipur have lost all faith in the state machinery and in the central government. They feel that both the state police and the central armed forces let them down, and their houses were burnt, their women were attacked, and now these people are living in refugee camps in their own state and are too afraid to go back to their homes. In such a hostile environment, people, groups, both internal and external, who want to exploit this against the Indian state have a fertile ground. There are many insurgent groups who are still active or who are in negotiations over peace treaties vis-a-vis the central government. Now, this environment allows them to recruit fresh people under a rhetoric that the union government does not care for the Northeast. Such an environment where people are disaffected with the state allows for external threats to use social media, propagate fake videos, propagate hate speech so that there is more division. I have never seen in the past Such a atmosphere where mobs kept looting one police station after the other
Hmm.
and were literally handed weapons, sophisticated weapons, by the state police. I've never seen such incidents where mobs attacked women in plain sight of policemen and central forces. And this is not my words, these are the words of the people that I and my fellow colleagues interacted with during the weekend.
Also, sir, one thing that people from the rest of the country are unable to understand is that if a similar situation had happened in any other state that is not ruled by the BJP, by now we would have seen, president's rule, or even in any other case, if it was a Congress ruled state, there would have been pressure to sack the chief minister. But in the case of Manipur, what is more intriguing is the fact that Biren Singh still continues as a chief minister. Why is it so important for the BJP to allow him to continue as a chief minister even after 3 months of violence, which is yet to, which is yet to be controlled?
Well, Prime Minister Modi goes across the nation promising that a double engine government, meaning the part having BJP at the center and the state, will bring development, peace, and growth. And this is a key message in the elections coming up in the 5 states at the end of this year. And this would be a key message of his in 2024 Lok Sabha election. This message has completely failed in Manipur. It is his party at the center, with the Union Home Minister being in charge of the law and order situation in Manipur. And it is his party's chief minister who got voted again in the last 22 elections, whose state police have completely failed. And rather than acknowledge the failures of his double engine government, rather than introspect on what politics have the BJP government in Manipur been indulging, which led to such hate and divisiveness amongst the people, rather than seek accountability from his Union Home Minister and Chief Minister, he's trying to cover up for their failures by his silence and by his effort to divert the attention of the people into other subjects and other states. So it only proves that the Prime Minister cares more about the image of himself and cares more about the image of his party, cares more about his reputation than the actual dignity of women, than the actual security of people, than the actual integrity of the Indian state. And people can see that now.
There was complete silence from the on part of the union government as far as the issue of Manipur is concerned. There have been political parties who have been talking about it, including you. You have been talking about it for the past 2.5, 3 months. But there was complete silence on part of the union government in dealing the situation in Manipur.
The violence in Manipur is unprecedented. And yes, the Prime Minister spoke, but spoke after 78 days. Spoke after he's been touring the world in US, in France, in United Arab Emirates, having returned from his foreign visit and touring across the country. It took him 78 days. And the issue and the burning of homes, the atrocities against women, the lawlessness has been covered on all national and regional media and on social media since May 3rd. The entire country is talking about it. The entire country is worried. And the Prime Minister chose to remain silent for 78 days. And you're right. He did speak briefly outside Parliament. But for some reason, even those brief words, he does not want to repeat them inside Parliament. He doesn't want to repeat those words inside Parliament. What message is he sending? Because Parliament is also about accountability. Parliament is also about outlining his vision as to how does he plan to restore peace and normalcy? What steps have his government taken to bring justice? He spoke of one incident, but we've been speaking about hundreds of incidents where women were assaulted. The chief minister himself has claimed that there are hundreds of such incidents which has happened, and he's claiming that so nonchalantly. I don't know how a chief minister can claim that there are hundreds of such FIRs where women have been stripped of their dignity and have been physically assaulted, and he continues to remain in the chair and pretend as if he's doing the right thing. Moral conscience on both the prime minister and chief minister would have meant that the chief minister himself steps down, and the prime minister may even ask the union home minister to step down, because it is such a fragile state. It is the state which is at the border. It is a conflict now which is spreading to Assam, Meghalaya, and Mizoram. Surely the union home minister also has serious questions to ask, if not put in his papers. So it just is very disappointing that the prime minister chose to speak about one form of human rights abuse and completely ignoring all the other tragedies and atrocities, all the other abuses that people in Manipur have had to suffer. It felt like a further slap on the face of the people of Manipur, a further insult to the wounds that they've already experienced, and it felt as if it added more salt to the wounds of the people of Manipur.
So you, along with several other members of the India Alliance, visited Manipur over the weekend and visited several camps in Manipur. What was the, what do these people who are there in camps expect? Those who are, survivors of violence, those who are victims of violence, what do they expect now? Because like you said, the state government hasn't done anything. The central government is unwilling to step in, or probably is looking the other way. So then what exactly is the requirement of the people there? What do they want?
First of all, they want to express and tell their stories. They have simply been not allowed to tell their story of what happened to them, because the internet has been shut down, because there's been no discussion in parliament, because nobody from the union government has gone and visited to them. They have suffered. They have been abused. And the first step is to be able to talk about it, but nobody wants to listen to them. Even mainstream media to a large extent is following the diktat of the Prime Minister's office and talking about all issues sundry. So I think right now what we all owe the people of Manipur, that they should be allowed to tell their stories, what has happened to them, how their women have been burnt and raped, how their homes have been burnt, how they have been ignored by the Prime Minister, how they are living in permanent fear and insecurity. And it is our right, and it is our duty towards them to allow them to tell their stories.
Having said that, when the issue of Manipur came up after the video went viral, the BJP came up with this argument saying, such incidents have taken place in West Bengal, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. The Prime Minister himself spoke about that, trying to equate between two incidents, or making it look like yet another case of sexual assault on a woman. Trying to draw parallels or trying to create two different narratives in these circumstances, which is being done by the Prime Minister himself. How concerning is this, and what do you have to say about that?
It just shows that the Prime Minister is covering up for the failures of the Chief Minister. It just shows that the Prime Minister is protecting the Chief Minister. He doesn't care that so many women have been assaulted. If he did care, he would have asked the Chief Minister that you allowed this to happen over the past 78 days. You must step down. He doesn't care. If he actually cared, he would have asked the Chief Minister to step down. He should have been outraged by now. Instead, he's indulging in this whataboutery on an unprecedented scale. A crime against women, wherever it happens, should be called out. But what has happened in Manipur is no ordinary crime. An environment has been created where mobs are allowed to roam scot-free in the presence of police, burn homes, burn down religious places, whether it's a temple or a church, attack women, take young people who feel that they are in the custody of police and they are safe, but the mobs have snatched away these people, burnt them, assaulted them. Mobs have stormed police stations. They are guarding themselves with AK-47s. And it is only the Indian army who's standing in the middle of these two communities who are armed to the teeth. Our own Jawans are at peril. Innocent people are at risk. And this is all happening in front of us. And we can all see the Prime Minister preferring to save his reputation than save the people of Manipur.
And how did this situation get out of control? And what does it mean for the army? What does it mean for the internal security? What does it mean for the national security if a situation is getting out of hand in a border state like this? And you're from Northeast, you can explain it to us in better ways. That somebody who has grown up seeing insurgency, somebody who has grown up seeing constant fight between different groups and armed groups in and around the Northeast region.
Well, you can see the effects already. Manipur is nowhere close to being normal. It's been 3 months, internet is shut down. Everybody knows that you can't access information. You can't communicate with anyone. You can't reach out to anyone if the internet is shut. You can't access education, online classes. Universities and colleges are not functioning properly. Government offices and hospitals are not functioning properly. More than 60,000 people are displaced. Some have gone to Mizoram. Some have gone to Assam. Some have gone to Meghalaya. Close to 5,000 sophisticated weapons are out and police has no idea where they are. Police are putting dump boxes in different parts of the neighborhoods and begging people to surrender their arms. These arms can end up in the wrong hands. It can end up with all gangs, different syndicates, and thereby create more violence. And disinformation is just been allowed to spread. And the animosity that has crept up between these two communities, I don't see it healing for another decade or so, because no attempt is being made by the union government to bridge the gap. No attempt is being made by the union government to heal the scars. So how long will Manipur live in this permanent state of fear and insecurity? And what happens in Manipur is not Manipur. Manipur is part of India. If today Manipur is divided on ethnic lines, India is being divided. If today the political calculations of the BJP feel that it is better to keep the chief minister in place and allow the state to fester in this environment of hate, India is suffering. So it is not something that is happening to one state in a remote part of India. It's happening to all of us. And therefore, it's our collective responsibility to demand accountability from the Prime Minister.
And also, sir, you moved the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister, despite knowing that you don't have the numbers. But what do you think that this no confidence motion will achieve? Because it's going to be taken up for debate in the coming days. Do you think that the Prime Minister will speak about Manipur even in that no confidence motion?
When the parliament began, our first demand as the India Alliance was that the Prime Minister should come, make a statement on Manipur, list the efforts that his government is taking to bring about peace and normalcy, and all political parties would stand up, support the union government's effort to bring about peace, and appeal to the two communities to come forward and initiate a dialogue. For some reason, that has not happened. The Prime Minister refused to make a statement and instead sought to obfuscate the issue by attacking the India alliance and comparing it with terrorist organizations and attacking the very name of India. And as you outlined before, talking about crimes against women in other states, forgetting that he did nothing when wrestlers in Delhi were protesting against the sexual harassment meted out to them by a BJP MP, forgetting that his Gujarat government allowed the victims of the brutal Bilkis Bano gang rape case to walk away from jail scot-free, forgetting that in Madhya Pradesh there are as many crimes that are taking place against women. So when we saw this kind of response, the India Alliance had no other option but to press forward with a vote of no confidence, because it is our responsibility towards the people of Manipur that we must get the Prime Minister to speak. The Prime Minister cannot be allowed to get away without uttering anything during this monsoon session on Manipur. And we had no other option, and therefore the vote of no confidence, knowing the numbers, was still our last resort, because it will force the Prime Minister to speak, and we all hope that he will hold himself accountable, express regret for the failures of his union minister, home minister, and his chief minister, and outline a roadmap to peace so that Manipur can again be a place where the various communities can come, live together, and rebuild their lives.
Now that the opposition parties have stepped up their pressure on the Prime Minister, on the union government, do you see something big happening before the no confidence motion is debated on the floor of the House? Either the Chief Minister resigns or any drastic step from the union government to try and salvage the situation.
I think the union government is still clueless about how to restore peace and normalcy in Manipur. That's why they are buying time, because they don't have a clear roadmap. They are buying time to dilute their responsibilities. They are buying time to dilute their failures. And that's why Manipur, despite having a vote of no confidence motion being taken, is not being discussed immediately. It's been discussed at the fag end of this monsoon session, and the government is prioritizing the time of parliament in bills which are not as important as the burning conflict in Manipur. So they are buying time. It shows their cluelessness, and it shows that politically they still want to diffuse their failures, dilute their responsibility. But we, as you said, as India Alliance, will continue to speak for Manipur, demand justice for Manipur. Today we met the Honorable President. We apprised of the situation. Over the weekend, we apprised the Honorable Governor of Manipur over the situation. Even today, we believe that it is our collective responsibility to restore peace. And tomorrow, if the Prime Minister wishes to send an all-party delegation to Manipur, a delegation comprising both NDA and India, we, India, will support such a step. Because in the past, we have dealt with insurgency in the Northeast. We have brought peace and stability to the Northeast. We have ensured that all the major insurgent groups suspend their military operations and engage in peace talks. So we know how to manage conflict in such a situation. So we are always there to provide constructive support if the union government is sincere about bringing peace in Manipur.
And my last question, sir, what is your biggest fear as far as Manipur is concerned? If the situation is not handled in a better way, if the situation continues in a similar manner, what is your biggest fear?
The last time there was violence of this scale, where so many people were affected, was close to 23 years ago, back in 1998. There was a lot of killings then. But since then, since 2000, we had a government there in Manipur. The Congress party had a government in Manipur for 3 years, for 3 terms, for close to 15 years. For 10 years, we had a government at the center from 2004 to 2014. And Manipur entered a period of relative peace and stability. Now, my greatest fear is that we've set Manipur back by 2 decades because of the level of animosity, the level of distrust, the level of propaganda, the level of weapons that are out in the market and are out in the open, the animosity, the huge presence of the army, the still continuing internet shutdown. Manipur is known as the Switzerland of the East. But how will the Switzerland of East flourish when there's fire, when there's violence, when there's anger? So my greatest fear is we have undone the progress that Manipur had witnessed over the past 2 decades.
Right, Mr. Gaurav Gogoi, thank you so much for talking to us. We will also closely monitor the developments in Manipur and also the upcoming no confidence motion in the parliament. And I'll also get in touch with you again on further developments. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.